In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to produce a lovely blue sky with white fluffy clouds. Now I'm using the ombre sand coloured paper which we supply, and you'll see the reason for this in a minute, and you'll notice that the tooth is running across. Now that's going to be very useful for us because I'm going to do other areas of this landscape as well in demonstrations, although this particular one is going to be for the sky, and you'll see how I can use the tooth in various ways. Now you can see the tooth quite clearly there. Now I'm going to do it all the way along here, and the other thing I want to explain to you is when you come against a building or trees, for instance, you don't put the light colours or the pastel pencil colours over the church or the trees. However, to make a successful job of this, you've got to rub the pastel in, as I shall do in a moment. Now I'll only do that much for the moment because I'm covering all the areas I want. Now you want to make sure that you've got a good coverage, so what I would do is just give it another application, and you'll notice that there's quite a lot of dust appearing. Now we're going to use that. There we are. Now that's just about the perfect base colour of white. So let me just show you. Now, your teeth, no teeth. I've got it. So you can, if you want to, remove all the tooth lines. Now, this is what I was trying to say to you. When you come against a building, you can't go around it, otherwise it look odd. So you can rub across it. But that doesn't matter too much, because when you put the pencil on the paper like that, you're starting to crush the paper. Let me just do a little bit more for you there. Rub it in and rub over the edges of the image. Now, the reason it doesn't matter about that is because it's your finger is the only pressure you've used. So later on, I won't do it now, I'll do it on the tree. Later on, I'm going to be erasing this pastel from here, giving me back my sand-coloured paper, which I will use for the next operation. You understand that? Now we have to do that because if you were to use the blue directly onto the pastel paper, it would look ugly. However, let me show you what we can do here. If we want some cloud, let's have a cloud coming in from this edge. So that will be blue sky. All right, and this will be a cloud. And we have another one here. Now they're clouds. And what you do is you blend the blue around them, like that. Now at the top of the sky, it's always darker, so give it another application of blue at the top, and then as you come down, graduate that until you get to about there, and then it can weaken off. So this can be a lighter application of blue, and that could be a stronger one. Now you can use a darker blue up there, but I'm not going to. The purpose of this demonstration is just to make it nice and easy for you to understand and to operate yourself. Now that's fine. So it's dark up there, light up there. Now I'm going to rub again with my finger. It's impossible to actually maintain that cloud design. So you do the best you can, but it really doesn't matter if you go over it, because I'm going to show you another technique which we can use. There we are. Now we've still got traces of a cloud, but they're still a little bit wanting, aren't they? So what we do, if you've got an ordinary eraser, let me show you one that I've got here. This is my favourite, which is a pencil eraser. But you can use an ordinary eraser to do the same thing. So I'll use both to show you that you can use either or. The pencil eraser is handy because you can create little designs. See that shape? And why am I doing that? Well, if I was to put the white colour on top of the blue, it would be wishy-washy. Now that can work sometimes, but in this case it won't work very well, as you'll see in a minute. If we come back with the white pencil, then we've got raw paper now, remember? We've taken the blue off. It means the cloud will be much brighter. And we can fill that in again. And let me show you what would happen if you didn't do that. Let's say we wanted the cloud coming up here. See the different colour? Now that's okay if you just want a loose cloud, say, attached to that you don't particularly need it to be bright like that. Now when you get that, the problem is now, if I was to use my finger, I'm going to end up like I did before. So what we do is we use a colour shaper. Now I've got a colour shaper here, which is one of my favourites. You can use an ordinary blender if you've got one, or any kind of blender really, come to that, but these are really unique. I'm just taking all the rubbish off from the time I used it last. And then you can use the colour shaper just to fashion your cloud. Now you see you have much, much more control over this. And there we are. Now that's not difficult. Down here you can just bring the blue and the white together, giving you a nice edge to that cloud. There we are. Now that's it. Now I'm going to do that all over and you'll see the finished result. But that's basically the idea of what I'm going to be doing. So in a minute you'll see the whole thing done with all the techniques that I just showed you put in place. There we are. That's all finished. All that remains to be done is to remove the pastel from the areas you don't want it to be, like this church, for instance. Now, I'll be doing more demonstrations on this particular landscape, so watch out for them. There we are. I've just finished this off and then you can get a really good idea of how that is going to be looking. Now you imagine that church done too. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. Got lots of ideas. I look forward to seeing you on the next stem. Bye for now.